Here.
Okay, good.
Like, why is no one here early? Uh,
Good morning.
Good morning, Vice Chair White. We are collecting in the boardroom and we will get settled and be ready to start in just 1 minute. But we have some board members coming in.
Okay. Just let me know when we are ready to start.
Vice Chair White, we do have 9 members on WebEx and in the room, so we can proceed when you're ready. Chair White, we're ready whenever you are.
Pat, do we have a quorum present?
Yes, ma'am. We are ready to proceed when you are. It's just these.
I'm sorry, I think I was muted. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Do we have a quorum present?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll go ahead and call our September 18th, 2025 meeting of the Joint Board of Directors of Valley Metro Rail, Valley Metro to order at 11:19. Can you take roll for us, please, Pat?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. City of Avondale Councilmember Max White.
Present.
City of Buckeye Councilmember Jermaine Berry. City of Chandler Councilmember O.D. Harris. City of El Mirage Councilmember Monica Dorsey. Present. Town of Fountain Hills Councilmember Peggy McMahon. Town of Gilbert Councilmember Kenny Buckland. City of Glendale Vice Mayor Lauren Tomlichoff. City of Goodyear Vice Mayor Wally Campbell. Maricopa County Supervisor Steve Gallardo.
Present.
City of Mesa Councilmember Francisco Heredia. City of Peoria, Councilmember John Edwards. City of Phoenix, Councilmember Laura Pastor. Councilmember Pastor is not present today, but Amber Williams will be representing the City of Phoenix at the Valley Metro Rail Board meeting today. Town of Queen Creek, Councilmember Brian McClure.
Here.
City of Scottsdale, Councilmember Mary Ann McAllen.
Present.
City of Surprise, Councilmember Earl Greenberg. City of Tempe, Councilmember Jennifer Adams. City of Tolleson, Vice Mayor Jimmy Davis.
Present. Online.
Town of Wickenburg, Mayor B.G. Bratcher.
Present, and I need you to know that I'm having technical issues with my camera, but I am present.
Thank you. Town of Youngtown, Mayor Michael LaVault.
Yes, Pat, I'm here.
Great. Chair, we do have a quorum and we are ready to proceed.
Thank you so much. We'll move to item number 1, public comment. The public will be provided with an opportunity at this time to address the committee on non-agenda items and all action items for the joint RPTA and VMR meeting agenda. Up to 3 minutes will be provided unless the chair allows more at their discretion. A total of 15 minutes will be provided for all speakers. Pat, do we have any public comment written in or present in the audience?
No, ma'am, not today.
Thank you very much. We can move to item number 2, Chief Executive Officer's report. We'll receive this report today from Jessica Medford Miller, our CEO, and she'll give us an update for the joint boards on current issues. CEO Medford Miller.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, staff, and members of the public. It has been quite a week at Valley Metro. I do want to begin this morning by providing you with an update and addressing a collision that occurred on our system Sunday evening, impacting service and certainly making for several media stories. This past Sunday on September 14th at approximately 7:14 p.m., a light rail train traveling westbound on Washington and a semi-truck also traveling westbound on Washington collided at 18th Street. That collision very quickly ignited a fire, which caused significant damage to both vehicles and our overhead catenary system. The visuals were quite startling, but I think it's important to note first and foremost that our operator, every single passenger, and the driver of this semi-truck were able to safely exit the vehicles. The driver of the semi-truck was transported with non-critical injuries and has since been discharged from the hospital. I am so grateful for the swift actions of our operator on that evening, our riders, our team members, and partners who were able to quickly respond and mitigate what could have been a terrible impact at that scene. I want to give you just a little bit of context. The train itself was severely damaged. It did derail from the track. The incident took down our overhead catenary pole and approximately 2 blocks of our overhead catenary wire, which powers the light rail vehicles. This is because the semi-truck did make contact as it was dragged just a little bit by the train with a pole, which took down those wires. Fortunately, we were able to continue service with a little bit of disruption and the help of some bus bridging because we were able to operate in the eastbound and westbound direction on our tracks along Jefferson Street. This is a portion of the alignment where we operate normally westbound on Washington and eastbound on Jefferson. So for a portion of the alignment and with the skilled help of our team on the ground and on the control center, both directions of travel carried on Jefferson. Our teams worked 24/7 throughout the night and the days from Sunday night and into Monday to restore service. By noon Monday, we had the train re-railed. We did tow it back to our operations and maintenance facility, which is near 44th Street and Washington Avenue. And by 10 a.m. on yesterday, Wednesday, we were able to restore service in both directions on Washington and Jefferson. This would not have been possible without the work from our many partners, City of Phoenix Police, Fire, Streets Department and Public Works were there at the ready to help us remove debris from the scene, of course, extinguish that fire. City of Phoenix Police is continuing to the ongoing investigation. All City Towing and Mass Electric also came to our aid in removing the vehicle and restoring our overhead catenary system. And we're also grateful to our neighbors and police who ensured safety and access to that scene, which did remain closed through yesterday. I've got to credit the Valley Metro team. You show your greatest strength at times when things don't go as we planned. To our maintenance team, who's responsible for the vehicles, the track, the overhead catenary system, the operations team who responded on scene immediately and continued to supervise days of disrupted service, our safety team who responded swiftly and took control of the scene and continued communication with me, with all of our partners, and with one another for a period of days. Our communications team who kept the public and our riders informed, our rail and bus operators, and our contractor ACI and Intercon, our security team, who maintained a presence on the ground. Once that investigation concludes, I will provide an update to the board with additional details. Also in the news this week, it's been a big week in the news for Valley Metro. A couple of days ago, local news media reported concerns from local operators and the Amalgamated Transit Union on behalf of bus and rail. I did send you an email this morning with greater details, but I do want to address this morning some high-level information. Our rail contractor, ACI, who employs all of our rail operators, is and has and remains in collective bargaining with ATU Local 1433. These negotiations have scheduled sit-down meetings. The next meetings occur in the month of October. I remain hopeful that these discussions will yield a beneficial agreement for all involved. Relative to some of the comments shared with the media, I want to underscore safety is part of our culture. It's discussed as part of regular collaborative meetings with our team members, service providers, and the union. These occur in safety meetings with frontline team members and field observations and listening sessions. We're working to actively create a safer and more secure system through maintenance campaigns, service scheduling efforts, and technology investments. Investing in our talented workforce is also part of our culture and another critical pillar of our strategic plan. We're committed to listening to our operators and all of our frontline team members. We're creating continuous improvement throughout the Valley Metro organization and operation based on their input. Some of our frontline engagement channels that you might not be aware of include quarterly listening sessions with all of our rail and bus operators, quarterly all hands meetings with our security team, monthly labor management safety committee meetings at each of our operating facilities, customer experience coordinator forums, train ride-alongs between our planning and scheduling team with our operators that's focused on scheduling, signals, and the function of our brand new downtown hub. We conducted an operator survey recently via QR code. It was electronic. We got a low response rate. So now we're working to deliver that operator survey in paper form so that we can plan continued feedback. We've got a cross-disciplinary team within Valley Metro led by communications, but in partnership with service planning, maintenance, and operations that's working to develop a comprehensive plan for ongoing frontline engagement. And that includes our Valley Metro employees as well as our contract team members. That plan is going to be complete later this fall. This isn't new. This is work that we have been doing and work we will continue doing. When it comes to safety and the needs of our frontline teams and our customers, we do not deflect from that input or criticism. We lean in. Next slide, please, or first slide, please. In other matters, I do want to provide a less sensational update on work that we're doing with communities from across our service area. This microtransit business plan is something that's under development. It was initially requested by several of our West Valley facilities that participate in We Ride, but we also have participation from cities outside of West Valley. Those include Goodyear, Avondale, Peoria, Chandler, Surprise, and Buckeye. the purpose of developing a microtransit business plan, which we're doing in a partnership between staff and a contract partner, AECom, is to develop a plan that would outline the possibility of transitioning administration of microtransit, namely the We Ride program, from the member communities to Valley Metro. We Ride has been a very successful program. It was launched by the communities as a pilot, always with a long-term thought that should it be a program that continues, it might be something logical for Valley Metro to lead out. So that plan development includes identifying and really understanding the city goals and objectives, developing operating and financial capacity plans for supporting service into the future, marketing and communications, which is so critical for communicating the value and availability of any of the service we provide, and then finally an implementation plan. The contractor came on board just this month. The kickoff meeting with member cities is scheduled for early October, and we anticipate the planning work will be complete in late spring of 2026. Moving back into engagement with the community, you know, we opened South Central Extension in Downtown Hub June 7th, always intending for that wonderful ribbon cutting celebration to be really the kickoff of an ongoing and living conversation and relationship with the South Central community. We're committed to continuing engagement, relationships, presence, and also building awareness of this brand new service. We continue to have staff present on site, working with businesses and residents in the South Central corridor. We're also continuing to have presence at community meetings and events. This past weekend on September 13th, we had presence at the 75th anniversary of the Harmon Library, and that's at 5th and Buckeye. We also had a booth sharing information about Valley Metro services, including the new South Central Extension at the El Grito celebration of Mexican Independence Day, which occurred here in downtown Phoenix on September 13th. That engagement is going to continue. We'll have facilitated tours of the entire system, including the South Central Extension alignment. We're organizing those this fall with local groups and business contacts so that local businesses, organizations that support seniors, especially young people in the community. And we're working now to gear up for a holiday celebration that we're planning on the South Central corridor. December is going to be here before we know it. And we look forward to celebrating the holidays with South Phoenix. Also this week, boy, this has been a week. Monday morning, while attending the Apta Transform conference, Jesus Sapien, City of Phoenix Public Transit Director, and I had the opportunity to meet privately with FTA Administrator Marcus Molinaro. We had the opportunity to share with him how federal transit investment in the Phoenix transit system, from state of good repair dollars to capital investment or SIG grant funds, have helped us double our rail miles since 2008. We discussed our continued partnership with FTA as we seek to reinvest in our existing system and expand both east and west to reach our growing demand for transit across the valley. We shared with him examples of our successful project delivery. Our 5 capital investment grant funded rail projects have all been delivered ahead of schedule and under budget. We shared how the agencies delivering transit across the valley support families and communities through safe and secure operations. And we also got to share some of our great stats and progress delivered by our security team, which we will soon begin communicating to the public because we've had strong success and it's a story worth telling. We're very excited to have Mr. Molinaro confirmed as FTA Administrator, and we will continue to work on our strong relationship with FTA. Madam Chair, members of the board, this concludes my report. Are there any questions I may answer?
Thank you so much, CEO Mefford Miller. I'll open up the floor for any questions for our CEO from board members. I don't see any questions online nor hear any from the body. Pat, are there any questions in the room I'm overlooking?
No, ma'am. No, there are no hands raised.
Thank you for the comprehensive report. A lot of information. I am so grateful to hear. Safety is first. We're all very concerned when we heard about the accident and derailment of a train, but to know that we're back to full operation and an investigation for the root cause is in progress. We're thankful that everyone came out safely. So very proud of the staff. You've already thanked everyone. Just want to continue to be mindful to await the outcome before, and we look forward to your next report. We'll go ahead and move from item number 2 to item number 3, Audit and Finance Subcommittee report. I'll provide that report. The Audit and Finance Subcommittee met on Thursday, September 4th. We opened up for public comment. There was none available. We also received an update from our Chief Financial Officer on PTF sales tax revenue through July. Very happy to report we're just a tick under 7% over prior year actuals. So getting off to a strong start for the new fiscal year. We received FY27 budget development process timeline. Our budget manager and operations fiscal controls officer, Tyler Olson, walked the committee through the budget development timeline for FY27. The AFS will receive the key assumptions at our October meeting. There are other key dates for the budget process, and AFS will be receiving several updates throughout the process. During that meeting, we also received an update from our chief auditor. The results of the contract change orders audit were presented and accepted and approved. It was determined that Valley Metro has efficient, effective controls in place for the identification, pricing, and approval of change orders and had consistent practices across the process. There were no issues identified or findings as a result of the contract change order audit results. Our internal audit manager, Larry Condrad, provided an update regarding audits that are being completed in progress and an update on audit recommendations that are in the process of being completed. From there, we have our intergovernmental agreement, contract change order amendments, and awards. This information was in the board's agenda. And so if there are any questions from the members online or in the audience, please make sure you reach out to Valley Metro staff. Our next AFS meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October 2nd at 12 p.m. And that concludes the Audit Finance Subcommittee report. I will open up the floor for questions. Hearing no questions, we'll move to item number 4, our consent agenda. Today, our consent agenda consists of 4 items. Please review the consent agenda and I will entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
I have the motion by Vice Mayor Tomilchoff. I believe the second was
Councilmember Dorsey.
Councilmember Dorsey. Thank you so much. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. The motion carries. Thank you so much. We're moving into our regular agenda. Item number 5 is also an action item. It's the recommendation that the Board of Directors establish an ad hoc committee to review business practices and contracting and procurement strategies and report back to the Board of Directors with their findings, observations, or recommendations, including opportunities identified for efficiencies to Valley Metro's business practices, contracting, and procurement practices. I believe this item was recommended by a few board members. So I would like to just pause here and open up the floor for discussion and receive feedback about this recommendation prior to taking action.
Vice Chair White, this is Councilmember, or sorry, Vice Mayor Tomachop. I think this will be a productive committee. I know I was one of the people that encouraged this to kind of take a deep dive into what, possibly now that we have we're sure about a funding source for the organization for the next 20 years, whether we need to adjust some of the business practices, whether we want to insource things, what things could we insource, and that the board would be able to support this conversation by forming this ad hoc committee. So I'm absolutely in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor Tomachov. We can red robin this, and please just open up the mic and go ahead and state your perspective if you have one.
It's awful quiet in here today.
Well, it is quiet. So I'll go ahead and state my perspective. I believe that as a member of the Audit and Finance Subcommittee, having chaired that committee for a year and also participating actively in the leadership here on the board of directors, I don't have a problem with this. I just find that and this is me bragging on the staff in Avondale. So I find that my staff in my city is able to help me kind of understand and give me some perspective on that. Might be because some of my staff is super knowledgeable, might be because some of my staff came from your city, Vice Mayor Tomachov, but I don't know if I have the capacity for another meeting. So I would agree with this, but I'm not sure if I could be a part of that ad hoc committee. And so I think too, a part of the discussion I think we need to have and be realistic with is who's gonna be committed to continue this conversation. And I hear you as that first voice saying that, yes, I am available and committed.
I'm absolutely willing. I believe the staff report outlines three, I don't remember what it said, but I think it said a five-member committee. Jessica, would you like to weigh in?
Thank you, Vice Mayor Tomachov. Yeah, in your memo on page 3, under background information, the suggested ad hoc committee composition really mirrors that of Audit Finance Subcommittee, which is 5 members, 3 representing our PTA and 2 representing VMR. Of course, the board is positioned to inform that, should you prefer a different committee construct.
So if we had that deep dive on several areas, and I know there were some from several board members, some questions about the length of time procurements were taking. And I know we've expressed, and in my city also coming from my staff, is whether or not things have changed now. Now we know the organization's got funding for the next 20 years. So I can understand outsourcing contracts when you don't want to be bringing people in, creating new departments or whatever for different things, or building a bigger staff because we weren't sure we were going to have a funding source beyond 2025. That's changed now. So my feeling is that it's the right time to have this conversation. We may determine that we don't need to make any changes. That might be the outcome of having the conversation, but I think it's a conversation that is important for board members to participate in. So some of this was at the recommendation of city staff in Glendale, is that we take a look at what can we maybe be more efficient at now that we know we have funding for the next 20 years to proceed through our strategic plan. And I think it aligns well with the strategic plan. I like the way that you're framing that and all the initiatives now. And I think it really does align with the organization's strategic plan. So I guess I'm going to be the only one that talks today. I don't know if anybody else wants to say anything, but feel free.
Madam Chair,
Yes, please. Thank you.
I'm like,
Councilmember
I
Dorsey.
agree with Councilmember White that I don't have an objection to doing this. And if it brings out some helpful things, then it's probably worth the effort. I would be willing to be involved in this. I don't know really how much expertise I bring to the process, but I assume that we'll have staff to help us where we require that sort of thing. So I'm in.
Any opposing views? I think we've heard a couple of views in favor of this process.
Councilman or Chair White, I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Jimmy Davis has a question or his hand raised.
Vice Mayor Davis?
I was just going to say, I don't see a problem with this either. It's always good to look at things. I definitely do not have the capacity to participate in this committee. I think I'm at my maximum allowable things, but I think if some other board members would like to take this on, I think that would be great.
Need one of those.
I thank you so much, Vice Mayor Davis. I think we also have a new procurement manual. Maybe someone from Valley Metro staff can validate, confirm, or deny. But if we have a new procurement manual, it might be great for us to understand what that looks like and the difference between what we had before and where we are now, because that would be something the Board of Directors is completely unfamiliar with.
Chair White, Vice Mayor Campbell also has her hand raised.
Vice Mayor Campbell, proceed. Vice Mayor Campbell, I think you're still muted. I think you have to turn up the volume as well, Vice Mayor.
No.
I don't have any audio.
Yes, Vice Mayor Campbell, we cannot hear you. So you'll need to adjust your microphone volume. You're on mute now. Vice Mayor, we can see you. Are you in agreement with this ad hoc committee?
Okay, she is shaking her head, yes.
And,
Yes, okay, very good, very good.
Vice Chair White, just for the sake of, and I don't know if everybody's seen the entire staff report, but it's a 5-member committee. That's what's being proposed, 3 RPTA members and 2 Valley Metro Rail, and then geographically, divided amongst East Valley, West Valleys. So that's what they're seeking. This is basically just establish the committees, what I understand, and then there'll be letters of interest, I guess, submitted for anybody who wishes to participate.
Yes, ma'am. That email will come out early next week, requesting letters of interest to sit on this ad hoc committee. And then we will come back in October and the board will vote on that slate of participants.
Very good.
I am ready to entertain a motion for the joint ad hoc committee.
I move that we create the joint ad hoc committee to review business practices and procurement strategy and report back to the board of directors with their findings.
I'll second.
I'll second that.
I heard a motion by Vice Mayor Tommelchoff, a second by Vice Mayor Davis. All those in favor, please come off of mute and share aye.
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 Any opposition? Nay. The motion carries. Thank you so much. And we will receive follow-up from Pat to express interest and move forward. Moving to item number 6, travel and expenditures. This item's for information only. It's in your packet. If you have any questions, please reach out. I will move to item number 7, report on current events and suggested future agenda items. Opening up the floor to any member on the line or in person. Hearing no items, item number 8, our next meeting of the joint board is on October 16th at 11:15 a.m. And this will close out our joint meeting. Moving directly into our Valley Metro RPTA board meeting. We'll start off with our first agenda item, consent agenda. Are there any members who wish to remove any items from our consent agenda? I would like to, the chair requests we remove item 1B, Federal Transit Administration pass-through grant agreement from the consent agenda.
We will pull that item, Chair. We'll pull that for separate consideration.
Okay, I was just gonna ask for a separate vote or just for a presentation.
I believe that the chair has questions or some comments regarding the Federal Transit Administration grant agreements. So then we will take a motion to approve consent agenda items 1A, 1C, D, and F.
What about E?
I'm sorry, yes.
Okay.
Everything but item B.
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda items 1A, 1C through 1F.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Davis, a second by Vice Mayor Tommelchoff. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Opposition, nay. The motion carries. Thank you so much. I did want to just receive a brief update from our intergovernmental representative, Alexis, on the FTA pass-through grant agreements. I believe that we are in a position where there might be, I think our CEO said it best, that Valley Metro continues to receive funding from the federal government, and we just want to make sure we shape to purpose, bring it to light, and maybe even hear a best practice how we continue to receive these pass-through grants. Alexis, I think it's teed up to present for us.
Madam Chair, this is Jessica. If I may, I would suggest Ken Kessler actually respond to this item. The pass-through grant funds relative to this particular agenda item are all formula funds under the 5307, 5337, 5339, and 5310 programs. And I think it's important to make a distinction between their formula programs and our competitive programs. Mr. Kessler, do you want to provide a high-level overview of what those programs are and the nature of this pass-through agreement?
Certainly. So thank you. Yes, Vice Chair White, members of the board, as Jessica mentioned, these are our formula programs. This is the RPTA share of the federal fiscal year 2025 apportionments to the Phoenix Mesa and the West Phoenix, Avondale, Goodyear UZAs. So the regional funding, the formula funding coming to our region. MAG programs these funds each year into the Transportation Improvement Program. And so this is just the current year federal funds, Valley Metro RPTA share. And as Jessica mentioned, these are formula funds. So these funds, we know they've already been apportioned and allocated by the Federal Transit Administration. And we're just coming to the board to ask for approval to enter into the grant pass-through agreements with the City of Phoenix, since the City of Phoenix is the designated grant recipient for FTA grants within our region. Happy to answer any additional questions.
If I may, I would add, with respect to our ongoing federal lobbying efforts, that where formula funds are placed, we are actively lobbying Congress and this administration to increase federal formula funding through these programs, also introducing an additional federal formula funding program similar to 5307 that would be focused on expenditures directly related to safety and security. We have requested that these funding levels be maintained and then increased on an annual basis to keep pace with inflation so that our purchasing power does not erode over time. And we use these funds to support a number of activities. Vehicle purchases, for example, is one of those activities, investments in the system. Mr. Kessler, do you want to elaborate? Am I missing anything?
Sure. Another large portion of the funds also go towards supporting preventive maintenance for our operations.
Thank you. Madam Chair, has that answered your question?
That has answered my question. As chair, I move to accept consent agenda item 1B. All those in favor, aye.
Oh,
Aye.
Chair, we need a second
I'll
before we can call for the
I'll
vote.
Oh, second.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, I thought as chair I could move without a second. Look at me.
Oh, no, yeah.
Oops. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Thank you. I got the second by Vice Mayor Davis. All those in favor, aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, nay. The motion carries. And I believe we still are awaiting MAG's committee to complete their review of this as well. So it does indicate that that funding level might change after MAG's review. However, we have an amazing partnership. So we look forward to any updates that come if there are any changes to that process and that funding. Moving to regular agenda, item number 2, articulated bus purchase contract award. I will go ahead and turn it over for the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'd like to invite Greg Thompson, our Deputy Chief of Bus and Van Maintenance, to the podium to provide a brief presentation. This is one example of how we put those federal 5307 formula funds to work by repopulating or recapitalizing our vehicle fleet. Our bus fleet does today consist of compressed natural gas and diesel vehicles. In the future, we see an inclusion of compressed natural gas and battery electric in our new purchases. This particular purchase is to replace existing 60-foot articulated buses.
Well,
Mr. Thompson.
thank you, Jessica. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Today, staff is recommending that the board authorize the Chief Executive Officer to execute a cooperative contract with New Flyer Industries to procure 17 heavy-duty CNG buses with a contract value not to exceed $26,184,619. These 60-foot buses will be used in Valley Metro's local fixed route service and are critical for meeting high-demand corridors. This purchase will replace 15 of the 2011 articulated buses, and at the time of replacement will have exceeded the 500,000 miles and 16 years of service. There's an additional 2 vehicles that are being replaced that were rendered unusable in 2022. Replacing these vehicles will help to maintain service reliability, reduce maintenance costs, and ensure we continue to provide a safe, efficient, and accessible service for our riders. Project costs and funding sources are outlined in tables 1 and 2 in your packets, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
I'll open up the floor for any discussion. Hearing no discussion, I will entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendation that the board authorize the CEO to execute a cooperative contract with New Flyer to procure 17 articulated heavy-duty CNG buses for the use in the local fixed route bus service for an amount not to exceed $26,184,619.
So moved.
Second?
We have the motion by Mayor Bratcher, is that correct? And the second by Councilmember Dorsey?
I made the motion, Vice Mayor Tomachoff.
I'm sorry, Vice Mayor
Okay.
Tomachoff? Motion by Vice Mayor Tomachoff, second by Councilmember Dorsey. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, nay? The motion carries. Thank you so much for the presentation. Moving to agenda item number 3, Mobility Center lease extension. This is also an action item. So I will ask our CEO, Mefford Miller, to share and kick off this presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the board, I'd like to ask Angie DeVore, our interim chief administrative officer, to come to the podium, as Ms. DeVore has been handling ongoing negotiations with potential properties for the mobility center space. Mobility Center is located at 44th Street in Washington, very near our light rail station. This location is home to our accessible transportation services team, and it's also a public-facing location. We sell passes here, but most importantly, this is our primary location from which we provide ADA paratransit assessments. So we walk customers through, or see customers through, I should say, a simulated system that includes a bus and curbs and real features that one might encounter in the built environment to help determine if and under what conditions individuals might be able to access the fixed route system. And if not, that in a combination of their own abilities would make them eligible to receive ADA paratransit services. We also have our accessible transportation team based out of this location and some of our customer service team members. This lease is set to expire in December 31st of 2025. Ms. DeVore has done a wonderful job. You'll see her again this year as we seek to present to you information regarding the lease of this building, what we call the 101 building or administrative headquarters. Angie.
Thank you, Jessica, Madam Chair, members of the board. In 2010, Valley Metro entered into a 15-year lease agreement at 4600 East Washington Street. It's also known as our Mobility Center. And as Jessica mentioned, it will expire at the end of this year. At that point, we have the option to either move or extend the lease. The 23,930 square feet that we currently have houses a small suite for on-site Valley Metro customer service staff, the ADA paratransit trip scheduling call center and functional assessments, travel training, ride choice eligibility processing, accessible transit services staff, and the sales of paratransit and Phoenix Style of Ride tickets. The primary functions of this unique space depicted in the photos is really twofold. The first is to conduct the functional assessments for ADA complementary paratransit eligibility. And the second is for travel training for those individuals with disabilities and seniors 65 and over on how to use the bus and light rail system. As you can see in the space, on the top left-hand corner, you can see where the bus is located and where there's some curbs, lighting, and this is where the functional assessments start. And then in the lower right-hand corner, you can see a portion of the course, which shows maybe stairs, different types of hardscape surfaces in order to walk over. And this does help provide that assessment functionality in a climate-controlled environment. Valley Metro worked with a real estate professional on state contract to address key priorities, including contract flexibility and favorable financial terms. The negotiated terms resulted in a 126-month, 10.5-year lease, 12 months of free rent, free parking over the duration of the lease. The operating expenses will be reset to a new base year at the end of 2026. And basically why that is important is that instead of using the 2005 costs as the base, the landlord will establish 2026 as the new base, and that would be the starting allowance for the operating expenses. Under the new lease extension, Valley Metro will not pay any base rent or operating expenses for calendar year 2026. The average rent over the 10.5-year term is $2,771 square foot, which is lower than the current calendar year average of $2,864 a square foot and lower than the area's submarket of $30.06 per square foot. As it relates to restoration and tenant improvements, under the current lease, the agency must restore the space to its original condition at an estimated cost of $570,000 due to the complexity of removing the bus and other exterior features that were installed in an interior space. Things such as traffic lights, curbs, ramps, railings, textured ground surfaces. And the new lease does remove most of these restoration obligations with the exception of the removal of the bus. However, they have allowed us to apply up to approximately $359,000 of the tenant improvements toward restoration, which minimizes, or in this case, eliminates the impact to Valley Metro. The new lease does have some flexible lease built into the lease. There are provisions for loss of funding with the options to adjust or return space. There's the right to expand on the third floor in the first 24 months under the same lease terms, which includes an ongoing right of first refusal for the space. And overall, the lease extension will provide Valley Metro the flexibility to adapt as its needs change. And the recommendation here is before you that staff is recommending on the slide for your consideration, the Board of Directors authorized the CEO to execute a 126-month or 10-year, 6-month lease extension with Copper Point Holdings, the landlord, for the base rent in an amount not to exceed $6,961,742.71. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much to our Chief Interim Administrative Officer, Ms. DeVore. I'm opening up the floor for any questions, concerns.
Chair, Councilmember Kenny Buckland has his hand raised.
Councilmember Buckland?
Thank you, Chair White. I wanted to express some gratitude towards Jessica, our CEO. I don't know if you guys noticed, but in our new board resources page, the contract was actually dropped in here. So thank you. I was able to, I don't like to review, as I said in March, review contracts without, or approve the signature without actually having reviewed them myself. What you've done through this has allowed me to go through the scope, the terms, and the best I can tell, this was negotiated very, very well. The escalator was actually less than what the market's done the last 15 years. So I just wanted to say kudos on that. Thank you for dropping that in so that I can be informed, we can be informed, and I'm happy to make a motion if there is no further discussion.
We have a motion by Councilmember Buckland.
Second.
I heard a second online from Vice
No,
Mayor.
it was me, Chair White.
Oh, second. Thank you so much, Vice Mayor Tommelchoff. I got the second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? The motion carries. Thank you so much, Vice Mayor Tommelchoff. I'm sorry I couldn't see that. I would like to also, again, commend the Interim Chief Administrative Officer, Ms. DeVore, for the comprehensive review and also making sure this aligns completely with our strategic plan goals to deliver excellent customer experience and financial stability. Moving to item number 4, report on current events and suggested future agenda items. I will kick off our reporting on current events and share that I have on my yellow Avi pin today. We honored Suicide Prevention Day here in Avondale on September 10th. It isn't always obvious when someone is struggling or having suicidal thoughts. Behind tough exteriors or seemingly cheerful smiles, someone around you might be feeling deeply lonely and drowning in dark thoughts. It might be you who's struggling. So we wore the yellow to celebrate the fact that we want to be available and make space for people who may be struggling. There are a lot of awful things happening in the world right now. And it is okay to say that you're not okay, but the best thing we can do is make connections every day and try and make sure our connections are meaningful and can sustain those things that we consider are inalienable rights, which is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I'll open up the floor for any additional report on current events and suggested future agenda items.
Chair, Vice Mayor Jimmy Davis has his hand raised.
Vice Mayor Davis.
I just want to invite you all to our third Fridays. They're starting back up this month, so it'll be tomorrow from 6 to 9:30 p.m. We have live music with Power Drive performing and lots of arts and food trucks and all kinds of stuff. So it's a lot of fun. So come down, come to Tolleson.
Thank you for the invite. We appreciate that. I'd also like to share, I believe that Valley Metro had the opportunity to get out and celebrate Grito de Independence celebrations, recognizing Mexico's Independence Day on September 16th. We are in the midst of Hispanic Heritage Month, spanning from September 15th to October 15th. So stay tuned in throughout the Valley for activities and events celebrating our Hispanic heritage in the Southwest. Hearing no additional current events and suggested future agenda items, we'll move to item number 5. Our next meeting of RPTA will be on October 16th, 2025 at 11:15 a.m. And this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you so much for your participation. We will be transitioning into our Valley Metro Rail meeting. So all of those joint board members have a wonderful afternoon. It is now 12:10 p.m. Thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Whenever you're ready. You need to, Williamson, you need to put your microphone in. It's okay.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I'll go ahead and open the Rail Board of Directors meeting for today, September 18th. We will start with agenda item number 1, our consent agenda. Do any of the committee members have any questions? Or are there any items that need to be pulled for separate discussion?
Ms. Williamson, I would like to make a note that the city of Phoenix is present for this meeting today, and also the city of Mesa. That does create a quorum for Valley Metro Rail.
Thank you, Pat.
No
All right.
questions. I motion to approve.
Okay, thank you. And I will second the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, we will move on to agenda item number 2, which is the SCADA server infrastructure update contract award. And I will ask our CEO, Jessica, to please introduce this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of Valley Metro Rail Committee. I'd like to invite Rob Rosenberg, our Deputy Chief of Rail Vehicle and Maintenance Boy, to the podium for an update. I want to note that this purchase that we're requesting here for our SCADA system, which is supervisory control and data acquisition, this is our rail control system. The recommendation included here are aligns with investments that were recommended out of a 2022-2023 audit of our operations technology, or OT, infrastructure. These were areas that were identified as needing improvement specific to cybersecurity. I'll ask Mr. Rosenberg to provide an overview.
Thank Jessica, members of the board. So as Jessica stated, there were some deficiencies noted during a cybersecurity audit in 2022. One of the items that was addressed was that the SCADA system did not have redundancy. So this item before you will allow us to add additional servers so that we have a redundant system. A redundant SCADA system will allow us not only to have improved reliability, but allows our maintenance team the ability to add updates to the system without completely taking it down. So just as a quick reminder, our SCADA system tracks all our train movement as well as critical items throughout the alignment. The second item that this memo before you today addresses was also an item identified during that same cybersecurity audit. It was identified that our network switches were not current and did not meet industry standards. So where we were insufficient was the ability to do monitoring of the system, or monitoring of the traffic, network traffic throughout the system. So this item before you allow us to upgrade those switches to the current technology. As we've shown here, that information that's coming through to our SCADA system is stuff from the signal buildings and the traction power system, as well as all passenger information system. The last item that is covered under the memo before you deals with the upgrade of our CCTV servers. So we're currently upgrading our camera system throughout the alignment. With that upgrade, the cameras now have a greater bandwidth and resolution, which means we have to have greater storage for all that information. We also anticipate that through the CEPTED study, we'll be adding additional cameras throughout the system, which also causes an increase in need for additional servers. So the recommendation is before you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you so much. So with that, staff recommends that the Board of Directors authorize Chief Executive Officer Jessica to execute a cooperative contract with Promark Technologies for the purchase of server hardware and software with an aggregate value not to exceed $2,990,012. May I have a motion?
I motion to approve.
Thank you, Councilmember. I will second. All in motion for approval, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. So we'll move to agenda item number 3. This is the report on current events and suggested future agenda items. Are there any reports on current events or any suggested agenda items for future meetings from the board members? Councilmember Heredia?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much. Then we will move to our last agenda item, number 4. Our next meeting would be on Thursday, October 16th at 11:15 a.m. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.